All right, welcome back to JTalks Sports, your play-by-play for the sports we all love. I'm your host, Jalen Price, and I'm joined by a special guest today, your new Clayton State women's coach with the experience at the youth, collegiate, and pro level. He's ready to build something special here, right in Morrow, Georgia, and that is Coach Ricky Clarke.
How are you? Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining. Thank you. And how has it been so far down there at practice, getting used to the team? How's it been?
Well, listen, when I joined, I was only with the team briefly for a couple of weeks. So it was only a short time where I actually got to do some sessions on the field and watch a game. Um, but it's been exciting, it's a group that's changed quite a bit, and there's a lot of new faces you're going to see in the full season. But I'm excited about what we've done. I'm excited about the players that we've managed to recruit. And I'm also excited about the players that have decided that they want to stay with Clayton State and they want to be part of something. So it's an exciting time right now, and I'm just pleased to be here.
Okay, well that's great, man. And we've been looking at the social media page. We've been seeing a lot of, like you said, a lot of new faces, and I'm excited as well to see what's going to take place when the season starts. But for the first question we got for you, Coach Clarke, what drew you to the Clayton State women's soccer program at this point in your career?
I would say I've been lucky to work at different levels in my career. I've worked from the youth program all the way through to college, all the way through to pro. I've worked with coach education. I love working with coaches and helping educate coaches. And I think where I'm at in my career, I think it was a really good opportunity to build something from bottom up. Um, the facilities here are fantastic. The campus is fantastic. The campus is located just a stone's throw from Atlanta, downtown Atlanta, which is a major cosmopolitan city. And when all those things aligned, I just thought it was too good of an opportunity to pass up. It also brings me closer to home. For the last 2 years, I'd been living away. Atlanta is my home, but I'd been traveling backwards and forwards to Houston. And it was a great opportunity to come, be closer to home, be connected to a community where I'm going to work and where I'm going to live. And yeah, it was just too good of an opportunity to turn down, to be honest.
I completely understand. And like you said, Atlanta's your home. It's like a welcome back home moment. You get to be closer
Mhm.
to home and you get to coach as well, so you don't have to leave. So I
Yeah.
know that's a great feeling. I know that is.
Yeah, and I was traveling backwards and forwards from Houston. My wife was based in Atlanta. I was in Houston. A lot of my friends, because I've lived here in Atlanta for over 10 years now, a lot of my friends here in Atlanta. So it was a great opportunity to come back and lean into the connections that I'd made from a youth perspective and sort of lean into those connections to help build this program. And that's what I've done. That's what I've done with the team that we've built. We kind of lent into the connections that I've made at club level, at coach education level, and it's really helped me build this roster that we have for the full season.
Yeah, and like you said, you coached that youth, collegiate, pro level. Like how does all those different branches of coaching and experience, how does that help you lead with the college program now here at Clayton State?
Well, listen, I think every environment you go into is different. But what every environment does is it teaches you something about yourself. It teaches you something about how you did things as a coach, what you didn't do as a coach. And I think what any coach should do in the process throughout their coaching career is take what works for them and take what didn't work for them and move it into the next program. And I've been lucky enough to work with programs where I've developed players. I've been lucky enough to work in programs where I've worked with some of the best players in the world. And now I think what Clayton does is it allows me to bring two of those big experiences that I've had and merge it into one. I'm still developing the student athlete. I'm still trying to develop the individual, not just the athlete. But I'm also trying to create a competitive program. And what it does is, through all the experiences I've had, it allows me to merge those experiences into one and bring it to Clayton State. And I'm excited, I'm really excited. I realize it's our first year. I realize we want to hit the ground running, but I also realize Rome wasn't built in a day. And, for me, one of the most important things is this season is laying down a foundation of, what type of program we want to be, what we want to stand for, what we want people to know. That there's a lot of work to be done, but I'm excited about bringing all my different experiences to this environment and trying to help build something.
And that's great. That's great because a lot of athletes need that too. They need that variety of experience to help them improve and get better. And you've been around so long and you've done so many things, so many great
Not too
things as
long, not too long. I'm not
not
that
not too
old.
long, not too not too long, but you've been around long enough to know what you're talking about. You've been
Yeah.
around long enough. And that's a great aspect for any athlete, in my opinion.
Well,
Any
well,
athlete.
listen, I think what experience does for you is it gives you the opportunity to create references and be able to have an opinion. I think sometimes when you step into environments when you're young, you don't really have a reference. You just do what you know. And I think by having all these different experiences, it gives you a reference. It gives you the right to perhaps have an opinion on the way things should be done and how they should be done. And I'm lucky. I've just been really fortunate with my career. You make sacrifices. Any coach who works in any type of sporting environment makes a lot of sacrifices. There's time spent away from family. There's time spent away from events. And you have to make sure that when you make those sacrifices to a certain degree, it's all worthwhile. So I'm excited about bringing those experiences here to Clayton. I'm excited about trying to build something. And I'm also self-aware enough that it won't happen overnight, but we're trying to build a foundation, and I'm excited to be part of that.
As we are excited to have you and have you be a part of that as well. And build and just building off of that, what's one core value or mindset you want every player in your program to carry on and off the field?
Um, I mean, three of the things that we'll talk about is we'll talk about like playing with courage, which is doing what we know is difficult, but we're going to try it anyway. And for me, that's like a life skill, right? You know something's going to be difficult, but you do it anyway, knowing that it's going to be difficult. And you can take that mindset into any part of your life, whether it's buying a house, whether it's deciding you're going to go and work in a different part of the country or a different part in the world. You got to have courage to do that. Um, but you also know it's going to be difficult, but you're going to do it anyway. And I think that's something that we're going to talk about a lot in our program. Having courage to do hard things, whether that's getting the work done, creating your schedule, whether that's stepping onto the field and doing something is going to be difficult, taking risks, being relentless, but respecting the game and playing with courage. So I think you'll see that a lot from our team. I think you'll see a team that's prepared to work for each other and help each other. But courage is a big thing that I think you're going to see from this group.
And that's great. That's great. And like you, and also, of course, going back to you working with top level athletes, top level players, how do you help collegiate athletes grow into pros or leaders in life? Because you want to see your players evolve and go on and be better than what they are right now.
Yeah, yeah. I talk about this a lot. I think the difference between top elite athletes and average athletes is a lot of the times those elite average athletes realize that talent is not enough. Like everyone at this level has a degree of talent that got them here, allows them to perform, allows them to be successful. But the real top athletes are the ones who prepare properly for performance, whether that's getting enough sleep, whether that's drinking in, like hydrating themselves properly, eating properly, taking care of their studies, making sure they understand what their schedule is going to look like ahead of the week so they're prepared, performing at 100%, whether that's they've got a little knock and they tell the performance team that they got to rest or they got to manage that knock because they can't go 100%. And then afterwards, how they recover. Do they go out with their friends or do they go home? Do they eat? Do they get enough sleep? Do they start that whole process over again? So for me, building the top athlete is a mixture of things. It isn't just about creating superstars. It's about how do we help the individual understand how their body works, help the individual understand how in order to be efficient at things, you need to be organized. So, what does that look like? Planning for the week, schoolwork, training, mentally preparing what they're going to do when they get on the field. Have they done work with their coaches to prepare themselves when they get on field? So, for me, one of the things I'm excited about is helping the individual first. And then, if you help the individual, the athlete second is ready to go full speed to attack the day, attack the game, attack their environment. And that's probably the most important thing for me.
Okay, and that sounds very good because it's very structured and it's actually very simple if you think about it.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. Look, listen, I think sometimes we get caught up in we must we must perform like this. We must do this exercise. We must make sure we're wearing this equipment. And when you just break it down and you say, right, what allows me to perform at my best? Well, I know that if I get 7 to 9 hours sleep, that I'm going to be fully recovered and ready to go for my game. I know that if I drink water and hydrate properly all throughout the week, I'm going to be ready to perform. So all the things that we can control, if we do them properly, we give ourselves a way better chance of being successful. And then when we get to the game, there's things that we can't control. We can't control the weather. We can't control the field. We can't control the officials. But if we can control all the things that are controllable from our end, we give ourselves a better chance at the game, and it just makes it easier. And sometimes, sometimes we're also talking about students. We're also talking about young adults. They'll make mistakes. They'll not do things the right way, and that's my job to help guide them through those processes. Help them
of
realize
course.
what worked, what didn't work, and
Mhm.
and that's my job as a college coach to help them.
Okay, okay. And like just with the connection, like they're like you said, they're young adults, everything's not gonna be done the right way. And you're coming back to Atlanta, coaching at Clayton State. How important is it for you to connect with not just your athletes, but the local community and fans here at Clayton State?
Yeah, look, listen, I think one of the things that is incredibly important when I went to university, I had never been to the place where I went to university. When I left after 3 years, I felt like I was a full-time resident of that area, and I think why that is because you do things where you connect with a community, you're representing that city, you're representing that town, wherever you are. And I think that's one of the things you'll start to see here. We're I'm very new to this job, so in terms of my connection with this local community, it's not very high. But we'll do things like where we invite teams in to train or see us train and watch us play. We'll also do things where we go out into the community and tell people like what we're doing and how we run our organization and how we can help our local community. So for me, that's an incredibly important part of being a student athlete, not just on the field, what you're doing in your cleats and performing and playing. It's also how you represent the city and the town where you're studying. That's an incredibly important part of that. One of the things I've been really lucky for is I've been here for 10 plus years and I've coached all throughout Georgia, and I'm very fortunate that I have connections in all different types of communities around Georgia. So I'll be trying to lean into that to help us. But Morrow, Georgia, will be specifically an area where we try and connect with our local community and make them proud of us as well. That's another thing. We want people to
Yes,
be
sir.
proud of their team and proud to come and watch us play. And um, we think we're going to try and do a really good job of that.
And I'm pretty sure you will. You know, a lot of people were excited to have you down here. You know, of course, Moro, Georgia. It's not, that very big. So I see the connection being very through and very, very, very good. Of course, like you said, you've been all around Georgia, so your name is out there, experience. So they know you, we know you. So I know it will be easy to get the community behind you and show that your program is working and it's going to work throughout your duration of being here.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
and finally, I'm going to ask you, what should the Laker fans look forward to when they watch your team play this fall?
Well, listen, I think, one of the things I think you're going to see from us is you're going to see a team that's like brave. You're going to see a team that's going to try and play exciting soccer. They're going to be brave in the way that they play soccer. They're going to be relentless. We're gonna try and make it very difficult for teams when they come and play here, and we're going to try and make it difficult for teams when we go on the road. But we're also going to respect the environment. We play in probably one of the most difficult Division 2 conferences in the country. So we're under no illusions how difficult it's going to be. And there's schools that have been incredibly successful for a number of years in our conference. So our job is to go there and like I said, play exciting soccer, be brave, play with courage, but be relentless in the way that we attack the game, whether that's from an offensive or defensive perspective. And hopefully you'll see that when you'll come to see us. You'll see a team that is prepared to work for each other. They will fight and work hard for each other. And that's something I think are instilled right from the very first day that, it's there's no I in team. I keep, I know that's something that's said quite often, but
True.
if the team performs, that allows the individual to perform, and we're all a village. We look after each other. The village works efficiently if everyone does their jobs. So that's something I'm excited about, and I think you'll see that when you come and watch us play on the field.
Well, coach, I tell you right now, you will not have to worry about me not being there. Either I'll be up in the skybox commentating, calling the games, or I'll be in the stands cheering on the Lakers, up to the Lakers. So you don't have to worry. You're hearing it from me first. You won't have to worry about me ever missing one. That's all I have to
Brilliant.
say.
Well,
That's all I
that's
have to say.
exciting. That's exciting to hear. We're just really fortunate that there's people like yourself that are really investing time into our athletics department and really care about Laker Nation. So I'm excited to get to know you a little bit more, but I'm also excited to get the season started.
Of course. Well, we got plenty of time for that. Thank you so much for your kind words. I really appreciate that. That just made my day. That's the one that's going to be my best part of rewatching this. So, but yes, this was, of course, JTalks Sports, your play-by-play for the sports we all love. Thank you so much again, Coach Clarke. I can't wait to see you out there, man. I really can't. I really can't wait to see you out there. I'm really excited because soccer's my favorite. So I'm really excited to be able to call and for us to connect more and get to know each other a little bit more after this. So, um, I have your Instagram, I have your socials, all that. I've been following you for years. I hope that doesn't sound weird. But, but
No, it
it's
doesn't. No, listen, I'm excited. I'm excited. Can't wait. It's a journey, it's a process, and I'm just excited to get going, get everyone on campus, and get the ball rolling. To use a pun. Looking forward to being a part of Laker Nation.
as we are grateful to have you part of the Laker Nation. But once again, this was J Talk Sports, your play-by-play for the sports we all love. This will be out pretty soon, so we'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much, Coach.